The world's suffering a bit of pain at the moment. So the NHS in the UK are finding it hard. So we're doing a fundraiser for the NHS charities. So if you can get 3 fantastic guests today. Coming up a little bit later on, we've got SDJ ZAK from the Criminal Minds. That's going to be absolutely wicked. And we've also got the Acid Brothers, who I'm sure you've all their experiences. So next up, very, very special guest. It's just amazing timing, right? You know, sometimes you think, oh, the moons won't align. Well, in this case, I think they have. So next up, we've got the SDJ ZAK from the Criminal Minds, Environmental Science, and I'll let him talk you through the rest of his experience, but I'm sure some of those names are more enough to trigger your interest. So welcome, Zach, to the show.
Yeah, man, nice one. You're right, Stu?
Yeah, we're cool. Talk a little bit closer if you can. We were having a catch up yesterday. We were talking about the show, having a bit of a prep. I was learning a little bit more about the things that you've done, and it's obviously, I can't wait for everyone else to hear more about it. But I think ultimately, this is your journey through rave. I think
a bit more pressure.
A bit more pressure. Yeah, I thought I'd just stick all the pressure on you rather than just waffling on myself. So, but yeah, so I'm thinking, you know, someone with your experience, and I think it would be good just to talk us through, you know, your journey in 4 tunes, which is a very difficult ask, right? Very, very difficult ask. So, how did it start?
It started in Sheffield for me, Stuart. Thanks for having me on, by the way, and a big shout out to everybody there who's locked in their yards, man. It's not easy under the curfew. It started in Sheffield, bleeps and bass. Are you there?
Yep. So the bleeps and bass scene, and how was that in Sheffield? Do you think was that a unique scene up there?
I mean, probably start at the beginning. I've picked these 4 tunes from particular points in my own musical journey. It's been 30 years, Stu, so it's really difficult to pick 4. But the 4 are all from the 90s. You know, the 90s is the decade really that set the foundations, you know, for electronic dance music, because we know it, rave, jungle, our thing, the UK thing. You know, and it all set the foundations for the next 20 years of my career. So I'm buzzing to be on here to talk about it.
And I think what you say there rings true, because I think leading up into the late 80s and into the 90s, music kind of followed a single stream. You know, the underground dance music scene, you kind of had hip hop and house. It sort of changed a bit, and out of it came some of the break stuff, and obviously acid house before that. And it wasn't until, I guess it's a bit like a virus really, as it sort of grew exponentially, then people went off and started doing their own things and making their own sounds and subgenres. You know, 93 jungle scene.
I mean, it's difficult to remember this far back, but I've made a few notes. I mean, I'm a Sheffield lad. You know, we're doing the usual Friday, Saturday night town scene, boozing and all the rest of it. And I knew really that weren't for me. Eventually, a mate took me to a club called The Limit. You know, it's like it's legendary. You know, absolutely everybody in Sheffield and beyond knows The Limit. You know, it's all trippy hip hop and early acid house, really. You know, stepping into that club for the first time, it was absolutely mad. You know, for me, it was like stepping into another world. You know, it had a big impact on me. You know, in there you would have like hip hop DJs playing early, I think I can remember, and then you'd have like DJs booked in from all over the place. But it was like house sounds of Chicago, Detroit techno. And it, you know, it blew my mind. You know, thing for me really, you know, it connected me up nicely because there's a couple of DJs in there, DJs Asterix in Space, Chris and Richard, good lads. You know, their sets are absolutely awesome. They were Sheffield boys. You know, that atmosphere in there, you know, it can't be explained. You know, you know, so you got the house sounds of Chicago, you got the Detroit techno, but we had a special connection to those scenes. We had Warp Records. You know, it's difficult to describe it. I think people call it Yorkshire bleeps and bass. You know, totally pulsating. You know, intricate beats, sub bass like you've never known. You know, it was amazing. So I just started out raving there, really, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, in there, I mean, you can't even remember seeing a DJ box in there, if that makes sense. You just went. and you were subjected to this just massive wall of noise of acid house and early techno. I mean, Asterix and Space, them DJs, they were on a radio show called a radio show SCR, a station, Sheffield Community Radio. They were absolutely massive, and I just fell into it. It just took me over, like everybody in our scenes in all the genres. You just once you're never going back.
It's fun. It's funny how the scenes you get pockets of it all around the country, and in different countries. You'll get like the Essex scene, you'll get the Bristol scene, you'll get the Manchester scene, the Leeds scene. Yeah.
I think the Sheffield scene, though, with Warp Records, was absolutely massive. It was relatively short, and I soon found out anyway that listening to the radio shows that Asterix and Space were playing like most of the tunes from Warp Records. Yeah. And actually, I've wrote a couple of interesting facts down, like the spoken sample at the beginning of Alternate's Infiltrate 202 says, check this next track out, you've got Asterix and Space, what's your bass bins? I'm telling you, that was sampled by Mark Archer and Chris Peake, for Alternate Infiltrate 202. Yeah. I do believe, like, Benson's actually still fronting them shows, And another thing is, DJ Asterix, Chris, you didn't see the DJs in there. DJ Asterix, Chris, he was actually the manager of Warp Records selling the tunes. So you'd have, like, kids coming in there, absolutely buzzing off the Weekend and the Limit, buzzing off, like, listening to the radio shows, going in there to buy the white labels, loving it, and, like, going on, oh, did you listen to Asterix and Space at the Weekend? They were absolutely amazing. Yeah, they're playing at Doncaster, they're doing this, they're doing that. And literally, DJ Asterix was serving them their tunes, but they didn't even know. Wow. And he stood there with a wry smile on his face, and I guess that's just the way it was back then. Yeah. Nobody was any more important than anybody. Everybody was kind of faceless. It was all about the music.
Yeah. So talking about tunes then, looking at your first tune that you've selected for today.
Yeah.
How did this tune influence you?
I could have had LFO, I could have had Tricky Disco, I could have had Sweet Exorcist, I could have had Nightmares on Wax, I could have had Rivermatic, Take Me Back, I could have had Nexus 21. But you know what? This is the one. I think it just says it all. I think it's got the bleep, it's got the bass, it's got the beats, and it's got an undeniable vocal in it. And it just took me to to heaven and back. It's my favourite tune from the time. It's Unique Freak, Rhythm Take Control.
Let's go. Right, that one, Unique 3, Rhythm Taste Control. That's the first tune selected by our special guest today. It's the SDJ ZAK for the Criminal Minds. Absolutely top tune. I mean, that explains everything you need to know about bleeps and bass, doesn't it? I mean, that, like you mentioned, tunes like LFO, I mean, that stuff you can just sit back. It doesn't matter whether you're clean, not clean, whatever mood you're in, that just levels you out. You know, that's
amazing times. They're all classics, man. I mean, so that was my inception really into music. You know, I was just a punter, but I learned very quickly, you know, what were happening. You know, I'm kind of obsessed. It's brilliant. So, I mean, coming up to the next tune, you know, I moved to London. I went travelling around Europe and bumped into a couple of guys who said, yeah, you know, we Sheffield scene about it's amazing. You know, like fucking come back to London with us and check it out. You know what's going on where we are. So I moved back to their place in Brixton, and I think it was that very first night we got back to Brixton. I went to the Rocket on Holloway Road. Everyone out there will know that. It was a night called the Orange, Groove Ride and all the rest of it. I mean, you know, if I thought things were good up there, I mean, that just blew my mind again, you know, going in there, seeing Groove Rider playing all the original early hardcore, you know, it's just totally amazing. Yeah. And I went to Busby's, Astoria, Shaftesbury's, you know, got on the scene, man, you know. We were at Busby's where I did meet a couple of guys. I went to my first Spiral Tribe rave, I think, having been on a night out in Busby's. That's absolutely amazing. So I was just flitting between, you know, going, you know, to the popular raves, to the underground parties. Yeah, I mean, if you want to move on right into next tune, I mean, it was there, you know, I met a guy. It was good at the Spiral Tribe dues, actually. It's a funny thing, you know, it's like, you know, Spiral Tribe are legendary now and the party's got absolutely massive. But, you know, when I was going, sorry, I'm running up and down the stairs, sorting the kids out at the same time.
We've got about 5 minutes, there's no rush before.
Oh, yeah, man. So I went to, when I used to go to the Spiral parties, you know, I noticed that sometimes they weren't a DJ on for ages and they were just playing a long player. It's kind of hard to believe, but I don't think people realise the DJs even couldn't be asked to DJ. You know, it was that's how relaxed and mad them parties were. So I thought, do you know what? I said, I'm going to go get my tunes out of the car. I think we was at a rave in Acton somewhere, some free party in Acton, and I just ended up on the decks there with Simon Carter, which leads to the Boombastic era for me, the Citadel of Chaos, of which I was part, you know, part of that setup. So you got Simon Carter, you got Jan Salisbury, and as we mentioned today, Jay Cambridge from your end, Romford.
Yeah. And I mean, and these are tunes that everyone knows about. I mean, Citadel of Chaos, Ronnie's Revenge. Yeah, you know, I've got these. They're on heavy plates. I've got them on the shelf. I mean, they get pulled out almost every set.
Yeah, we had three studios going there. There was Ola, who run distribution and the label side. I worked for him selling records and doing all the artwork and stuff. He had a studio in his flat. Jan had just moved to Bushy, and his parents had split up. Well, he'd not moved. His parents had split up, and he moved into their house, like a 5-bedroom house. And me, Simon, and Jan moved in there and set up another studio. So that was like a lethal combination they made. They were really, really good times for me. That's where I started. That was my first experiences, really, of writing tunes, you know, and hardware and, you know, how it all worked, you know. And the Citadel of Chaos was born, you know, was instrumental in sorting out the first PAs, you know, at Labyrinth and like I said, helping out with the labels and the distribution and all the rest of it. You know, everybody's got to play their part. It's mad. At the same time, I'm like learning to write tunes at the same time. It was amazing though, because that was in East London, and like you got to imagine. So, you know, I'd been to, you know, a few big parties and stuff on the London scene, and I idolised these DJs straight away that I was seeing. You know, you do at that time. You know, I was only 20. You know, and then, you know, the next thing, I've got these people floated in and out of the studio coming to see A-Side, you know, Fabio, Gashe, and that was like, not starstruck, because like I said, my mantra is we're all equals, we all play a part, but, you know, it was impressive.
Well, you're all out there doing something, contributing to the scene, you know.
Yeah,
it was too early before I think all the massive egos got involved, you know, because obviously the clubs and the events, the money side of it, the ticketing side of it, all ended up getting a bit messy over the years. But you know, the people making the. I mean, there weren't many people engineering these tunes, right? A lot of people that were making tunes and selling them.
Yeah, exactly.
They weren't making the tunes. They were just sitting there saying, "I like that sample." You know?
Exactly, but they respected that. You know, the DJs. You know, people put DJs on pedestals these days, but like, I probably don't know if my message is coming across, but you know, your Fabios and mentioning and name dropping, that they were just such humble guys, you know. They didn't even really think they was important. They were just like us. They wanted the tunes, they wanted to play, and it was the scene that became massive, you know.
Yeah.
So I was really lucky, you know. I've been amazingly lucky, you know. My whole ride through this whole 30 years, especially these 10 years, like a magic carpet ride, mate. You know, honestly, it's just like brilliant. And you know, working that Citadel of Chaos thing, in living in Hackney, you know, 21 year old, and going in Terry Telltale's pressing plant, and having access to all the slamming vinyls, everything, Ibiza Records, everything that was coming out. Yeah, it's mental for me, mate. You know, it's got so many stories. I mean,
and that's a commitment, isn't it? I mean, you've come down from Sheffield. You're in the East End. I mean, it's all about the music, isn't it? I mean, there wasn't any other reason you came down.
No, exactly. And I don't know. It's just some mad things happen. I mean, me and Jan, you know, through Terry Telltales, we got introduced to John Heyman. He's died now, rest in peace. And G String and Lenny Dice and people like that, and hooked up with them. You know, we even set up a studio across the road from Terry Telltales on a little side road down there. Bought loads of kit, set up another studio. So we had 4 studios running at the same time. And that's when we did a little offshot of Citadel of Chaos, which was Masters of the Mental Minds. And me and Jan were driving through Ilford as it goes, playing some tunes on the tape. But I think we must have been nutted or something. We were buzzing.
Did you go into music power whilst you were there?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Brilliant, mate. So we're driving through Ilford, and this guy next to us in the car, but he had blacked out windows, but he had his window down a little bit, and he could hear the tunes. The next thing, he's pulled in front of us, and going, what's this fucking guy doing? And he gets out of the car, he's walking towards us, it's Nigel Benn. And he's like, yeah, boys, what you're listening to in the car, I'm going to start DJing, it's fucking amazing, blood, and all that. And it was like, no way. So we're sat on this one-way system in Ilford, me and Jan, playing a tape cassette of these tunes, Masters of the Mental Mind, and we've got Nigel Benn in the back of the car, we've got a fucking spliff, mental, mate.
And these stories are just like gold. They are absolutely gold.
And he's absolutely brilliant. And I won't say God bless me, but it's like, I was like, fuck, I can't believe it. Blah blah blah. We drove straight back to the studio to see John Heyman and G String, who obviously have lived in East London all their life. But, you know, me, you know, I'm like, you know, new to it all. And I go, guess what? I just met Nigel Benn. Going, yeah. They're going, he wants to do a tune with us. And G String turned around and goes, yeah, I know Nigel, man. You can ring him back and tell him to fuck off.
Right, moving on. So you mentioned Lenny Dice,
Lenny Dice, yeah.
Your number 2 tune today.
Yeah, but I did. So when I was in with all them guys, I didn't realise. I worked out. Well, they quickly told me that Lenny Dice had wrote this tune with IE, and it does turn out straight up that was my favourite tune from Busby's and Astoria. So yeah, with IE, Lenny Dice.
Cool, absolutely top tune.
We
Right, that one, We Are E by Lenny D-Ice, absolute top tune. You've got the hats in that, the snares, you've got that breakbeat comes in. I mean, absolutely transformational. Stu E here, Break Pirates. I'm here with our special guest, SDJ ZAK. We've been speaking to Big Bite earlier on. Coming up in about 25 minutes, we'll be joined by the Acid Brothers, who I'm sure you've all heard of. So, just carrying on then with ZAK. So that one, Lenny D-Ice, you were talking us through the Nigel Benn moment. So how did we move on from there?
I don't know. It's mad. I mean, at this point, I can point out that you look back, you know, at these stories, and as time passes, the more unbelievable they sound. Outside, great everything was then. You know, like I said, very privileged to have had such fun and good times and met some top people. You know, I mean, from there then, so Citadel of Chaos was running well. You know, and I think Olo runs Stage One and funded that label. You know, obviously started setting up loads of other labels. So I was just distributing tunes up and down the country still. I put on a couple of raves in Sheffield using the Adrenaline sound system, which was from Spiral. I'd met Easy Groove and Lisa and Bookham and got them on there with Asterix and Space. So that all went well. You know, but you know, it was one day I was driving up. So I'm moving on now to probably to the third tune and the story and kind of the next phase of my life, which was a massive one, was I was driving up the M1 one day, I think, just after distributing loads of tunes around London, and we're going to go up to the Manchester shops and all that the next day. But I got stuck at Milton Keynes like you do. It's always backlogged there, man. I come off at Junction 13. I was driving through all these little places. You had no sat-navs or fuck all, so I've ended up in this like little town called Wolverton next to Milton Keynes on a one-way system down this Albert Square type thing, and I thought, I need a fag, I ain't got a lighter, I ain't got nothing, so I pulled up in the nearest space, and there was these jungle tunes playing. As I looked to the left, just back looking, there was a record shop called Treehouse, and it weren't on my list, so I thought, fuck it, let's get in there, sell some tunes, have a fag and all the rest of it. So I go in there, you know, tunes are blaring out, all the lads are in there from the local area smoking, and just this heavy scratching going on the decks, and I thought, hey, this is brilliant. Went over to the DJ, had a look over the counter to see him on the deck scratching and that, and it was absolutely phenomenal, you know what I mean? It's brilliant. Got to about 5 o'clock and everyone started leaving, and at the end I just walked up to the geezer on the decks and I went, yo, I goes, listen, I said, that's fucking respect, man, that was absolutely brilliant. He goes, yeah, cheers. He's going, what you doing here anyway, where you from? I went, Sheffield. He goes, I'm just selling some tunes. He goes, oh, get us a couple. So I got him a few tunes out of the boot, gave him in, and he goes, oh, here's my number. You know, and he's mad with swap numbers. Anyway, that night he rung me and he said, look, them tunes, he goes, I fucking love them. He goes, really different, brilliant. He goes, why don't you come, are you going to London tomorrow? I goes, yeah. He goes, come back down and see me on the way down, man. I'll take some more from you. So I drive back down the M1 the next day. He'd rung me and he said, don't come back to the shop, come to my home address. Give me his address. So I turns up on the street in Milton Keynes, knocks on the door, and like this Scottish woman opened the door. She let me in. She goes, you all right, son? I goes, yeah. And in there was who I now know to be Liz and Agnes. Basically, I goes, I've come to meet your son, you know. He goes, yeah, he's upstairs. So she goes, do you want a bacon butty? And I went, yeah, all right then, yeah, nice one. So he's like, I'm eating this bacon butty. The lad comes downstairs and he goes, Mum, have you got my bacon butty? She goes, yeah, your mate's eating it. So he's like,
well, you know, you can't leave a bacon butty on the side, can you?
He smiles at me and nods me to come up. Like I said, listen, mate, because I'm sorry, I didn't get your name yesterday. Because it's Ian. So we walk into the studio, and obviously I've been building studios with Boombastic and that, and I looked at this, and this was like another world. I was like, fucking hell, this is like serious. They pressed play on Cubase on the space bar, played this tune, which blew my mind. And I was like, fucking hell. And there were no posters up, nothing like that. So I said, obviously you make tunes, Joe. And he goes, yeah. I goes, do you release tunes? He goes, yeah. He goes, have you heard of the Criminal Minds? I went, yeah. I was like, couldn't believe I was in the room there with him. Before you know it, I'm picking up loads of parts for 32 Troop.
So you're walking away from his house with some dats in your pocket with absolute gold on it that people would probably lose their left arm for today.
I know. And then that was on a Tuesday. On the Thursday, he rang me and he goes, what are you doing tonight? What are you doing tomorrow night? I went, why? He's going, we're doing a gig at the Rocket in London. And he goes, all right, yeah, sound. He goes, with La Bella Blanca and Bug Kant and the Plastic Jam and that. And I was like, yeah, cool, I'll come. And he was like, well, actually, I was going to ask you a favour. I said, what's that? He goes, he said, one of our lads is not available. Do you mind coming on stage? I was like, yeah, all right.
This sounds like the sort of videos people are now watching on YouTube, and they're like, yeah. I know him.
Yeah. It's fucking mad. So, like, from there, I mean, I don't really know what to say from there. I kind of, like, joined the band. I mean, you've got to remember, I don't know if people know, Criminal Minds were a solid hip-hop band. You know, they played all over the world with Silver Bullet. It was UK hip-hop. You know, they were real purists. You know, 5 or 6 of them, you know, they weren't even bothered about the jungle hardcore rave scene. They just didn't care. They went into it. But I was, and Spats was. And the tune Baptised by a Dub, you know, derived from a speeded up version of a hip-hop tune anyway, sampling MC Duke and stuff like that. And it, you know, I think you'll agree, you know, it is one of the top 10 tunes of that era. I'd call it a proto-rave jungle tune.
100%.
So it's like, here we are, I'm with DJ Spats at the Criminal Minds. You know, I don't think a lot of people knew about the setup. And we created a kind of rave set, live PA around Labello. And I brought all my bits and bobs that I'd written from Citadel of Chaos, and by now at home I'd set up there as well, and put all that into the new Criminal Minds tune, and that created the era from 93 to 95 really of Criminal Minds on Labello. So yeah, full on, joined the band. So with it, you know, so yeah, I think the rest is history. Yeah, man. So I think my third tune has got to be Criminal Minds, Baptised by a Dub.
Couldn't do it better myself. Here we go.
Cheers. Yo, what's up? Psychosis. We are the Criminal Minds.
Oh, I can tell the chat room's absolutely buzzing with that one. Baptised by Dub, the Criminal Minds. We've got SDJ ZAK from the Criminal Minds and other on with us today, or with me today. Stu E, Break Pirates. It's the Easter Isolator on Break Pirates. It's a 4-day monster session. We've got 20 DJs. It's absolutely massive. Get in there, breakpirates.com. Get in the chat room. There's loads of people. It's absolutely rammed. The sun's out. Everyone's indoors, unfortunately, or in the garden. Out to Euphoria. Loving the garden. But right, let's get back on with ZAK. So that was our third tune for today. We've gone through Rhythm Takes Control, We Are E, and Baptised by Dub, and this really sort of takes us through the story. So that's absolutely wicked. So where do we go from here, ZAK?
I mean, I just want to reiterate that, joining the Criminal Minds, for me, it kind of sounds all brilliant and all the rest of it, but I think with similar parts of the journey, I kind of maybe was, boxing above my weight a little bit. You got to understand, coming into a setup like that, you've got to prove your worth. You've got to learn quick, and you got to hone skills and make a positive contribution, because anything that you do has got to work, otherwise it won't work. So, I'm very, very, very thankful to the people that I've mentioned so far that brought me in and got me up to speed and, helped me achieve the things that we've achieved. If that doesn't sound too thingy, Bob, so from there, I mean, it just went mad. We did the years on Labello, and you got the Mind Bombing EP and stuff like that, which was, original Criminal Minds fans, the rave Criminal Minds fans, and maybe not the hip hop, it was really different, speeded up. But I mean, that was it. You had to experiment. That's what Criminal Minds, we didn't work to a format. You had Joyrider EP, like I said, the Mind Bombing double LP. We worked really hard on them. I'm really proud of them works. If people want to hear them tunes, you should look for them. But mainly, I was again slammed into the Sanctuary and Helter Skelter and doing all the raves. You got to imagine what that's like in 3 short years, going from Sheffield in the Limit to being on every single stage as the Criminal Minds. It's fucking mad. And there's one particular gig at Sanctuary, Milton Keynes, their hometown, as that Prodigy came to play, Liam and the boys there. And, they selected us to play with them because we were local. Got there, did the show, didn't see him before. We did our support slot, we did an experimental mix of breaks, jungle, bit of drum and bass, and our normal tunes, Baptised by Dub. And at the end, I just, nobody was really, like you say, brown nosing anybody else. But I just thought, fuck it, I'm going to go and meet the Prodigy while I've got the chance. So I went up the spiral staircase to the top, pushed there like bouncer mind or whatever you like to call him out of the way, and piled in there. And Liam was just stood there with these like floppy discs in his hand, and I went, "Yes, Liam," and he went, "You all right, mate?" I went, "Yeah, sound." He's going, "What are you doing later anyway?" I said, "Fuck all, really." I said, and then I don't know whether he said it or whether I said it. We got talking, said, "Do you fancy doing a tune?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, we'll do a tune." So I got Spats up, because he's a bit shy. He came in, "Yeah, we're going to do a tune." Like, when? Like, tonight. So we got in their fucking bus, whatever it was, and went back to Liam's that night.
The Prodigy's Passion Wagon.
Yes. That big growling thing that they had before the tour buses. Anyway, we got over there into Essex, don't know, about 2 a.m. We were rolling up, drinking vodkas or whatever, messing about. We didn't want to do, what should we do? We're not going to do any jungle, we're not going to do any drum bass, we're not going to do any hardcore, we'll just do something that suits the night. And Spats rolled out these hip hop beats that he had on that, and then we started to work those beats, that 1-3-5 tempo. And it's kind of those sessions and that style of beats and all the rest of it that led to writing Poison, the track, which was a change in the tempo of their music when they went into the Jilted Generation era. And, he obviously went on and evolved it and all the rest of it, and Maxim's on it and it's their tune, and all. But he rung me up and he's going, "Listen, man, fucking brilliant, you've got to remix this tune." So we got in there and we did like the massive Environmental Science remix.
And that's not a small tune, right? I mean, that's one of the most memorable Prodigy tunes of that era.
Yeah. Poison Firestarter. I mean, that's it, isn't it? We're saying no more. So we done that, and then from that, I think Phil at the Shaman office called us and says, "God, we've heard that Poison remix. Can you do a Shaman office thing?" This is straight up. Then the next thing, we've got Capitol Records ringing us, Megadeth. Can you come and work with the band? Everybody. I'm not going to name drop. You had Boo Radleys, you had Travis, Ocean Colour Scene. Everybody at the time wanted an Environmental Science remix. Lemonheads, Cathedral Park. I think we've done about 30 remixes big names. You know, we were doing all sorts.
Well, I've been going through your Discogs history. I mean, there's plenty on there.
And I mean, I didn't want to go off on too much of a tangent with this because it's not the essence of the Break Pirates thing. You know, it's like
it's fine. It's absolutely fine. It's absolute gold. I appreciate you sharing it with us.
I've come in because it's for charity and all the rest of it, and hardcore is my love, and I pick my tunes from the 90s. But you know, it's got to be mentioned. You know that. From there, we signed to Skint Records. You know, we were touring with Fatboy Slim. Damien Harris was a personal friend. We got a massive deal. We did the whole thing. And then we set up a live show with Age Stradic and Joe Farragher on vocals and me and Spats and on the beats. And we toured the world. It's as simple as that. We went every single place, like proper limo style. It was fucking mental. And yeah, it's kind of, that's kind of where we went. That lasted about, I think, 3-4, I can't remember, at its peak from 97 to 2000, I think that lasted. And then I had my first kid shortly after Heno and slowed things down a bit. Science had run its course. We didn't want to sign an album deal. We turned it down because they were sending us a Holloway Road into these studios with people that were completely fucking arsed with, excuse my language. You know, oh, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that. This is the vocal we're doing. These are the vocals you're going to use. You're not. I said, listen, who are you talking to? You? And they were like, well, this is what you got to do for the deal. I went, fuck the deal, and walked out. And really got a bit of a bad name at the upper level of the music business for being too ball-shaped, rude, which obviously you lot, and you know, Stu, I am not. I think
you know, and things, when that happens, I think it's a sign, isn't it? It's like, this is what it is. This is what makes it successful. This is what makes us what we are, and what makes me what I am. And I'm not going to change from that. And I think a lot of people don't sell out, and I think they're the best ones.
True, right, mate. We had a little foray off into breakbeat garage. I mean, the garage scene all popped up around 2000 as well, and we was in Mix Mag. We've done a tune with Zeb Byers called ES Dubs, which was originally a science tune, Standard Hoodlum issue, and you know, we were in Mix Mag as breakbeat garage with DJ Decline and stuff like that. I mean, I loved all that as well. That was brilliant. So I was playing alongside Jason Kay, having played with him at Top Boss as Criminal Minds. We were Zach and not playing with him, but you know, I ended up at a lot of venues playing on the same bill, and it were brilliant. I mean, the likes of Zed Bias, who's an absolute garage don and legend of all legends of garage now, after the passage of time. I mean, I'm sure Dave won't mind me saying we gave him his first kit, you know, keyboard samplers and stuff like that, and we all got going together in that garage thing. So there's all of that as well. That's another story.
So we'll save that for another show. I think I was always worried that the 45 minutes that I'm allocating you in this show today is never going to be enough to squeeze it all in. So
I think I've sounded a bit rushed, but it doesn't matter, man.
No,
you know what I mean?
It gives everyone a taste for it, and I'm sure people will be begging for you to come back on, and we'll do some more talks. So moving on to the last tune for today. Which is a big tune.
This is from the 90s. Sorry to jump in there, Stu. Look, this tune, in my opinion, is one of the greatest pieces of music ever created. It's the only tune, when I listen to it, that gives me the same rush of any party I've ever been to, or any success I've had with releasing stuff and all that, you know, or of life. You know, literally, when the vocal and the harmonies are played, it feels so physical. It's just so amazing. It's totally selfless soundscape, bonding everybody and everything together. It sends chills down your spine. It's wistful and dark, nostalgic. It makes you want to dance, have sex and cry all at the same time. I did hear someone say once, if God wanted to talk, this would be his language. And this is Future Sounds of London, Papua New Guinea.
Great. Thanks. Let's go. Alright, Stu here, Break Pirates. It's the COVID Island discs today. Just finishing up with that one. Future Sound of London, Papua New Guinea. I'm here with DJ ZAK from the Criminal Minds. It's been an absolutely legend chat. I appreciate all the stories you told us, even though it's only a short account of them, and I'm sure there are endless stories going through all that stuff. And
sure, man. Thanks for having me on. I never do anything like this. You know, the music does the talking. I've never ever done interviews. Fuck all, nothing. You know, I had to come on this because for the cause, man, for death.
No, and you know, like I said at the beginning, I noticed you've popped up on social media a bit in the last couple of days and sharing your stories. And
yeah,
I was planning this show, and I thought, you know, that would be absolutely perfect. And one of my favourite pieces of vinyl of all time is the Autonomy EP, Criminal Minds. Your name's on it, and I was like, well, that's it, absolutely perfect for this show. And been getting lots of good feedback in the chat room. Just a couple of quick questions. Undies in the chat room wants to know if you're still in touch with Spats.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, this is not ending it on a good thing. Listen, he's all right, but he had a bit. I'm still in touch with him. Yeah, massively. We're going to do some more environmental science stuff and other bits and bobs. Yeah. We've had a long break, but we're back in touch with brothers. We've always been brothers. But he's been in hospital yesterday, hooked up to some sort of ECG machine. I mean, it's not serious, but he's had a couple of heart problems recently. I've been reassured that they're not serious, but it's something that needs to be done with medication. So if he's managed to listen, because I know he's on the ward, you know, my brother, get better soon. I wish I could see you, but I can't. So thanks for asking that question. Spats is amazing. Spats is a legend. Yeah.
Yeah, and we all wish him well. And obviously with this being an NHS fundraiser, that kind of ties in, and hopefully he'll see some benefit from that.
Yeah, God bless, you know, and I want to send a shout out before. Can I do some shout outs?
You can, of course.
But I just want to send a shout out, obviously, to everybody who's at home together, and especially them that's at home alone, you know. Yeah, you can get very lonely. Don't feel lonely. We're all together, you know. Also, to all the people, man, who felt, you know, pain like they've never before, you know, the people that have lost relatives. Imagine how they're feeling at this time on the Easter weekend, especially, never mind normally, and then people that are alone. God bless, you know, that's the people I'm thinking about all the time. I'm no hero, no saint, but you know, I'm a human, and God, you know, God bless you. That's all I'm saying. You know,
and you know, they're good sentiments, and you know, I'm really happy to see that, you know, a lot of the communities out there are helping each other, and
it's massive. It's getting massive, isn't it? It's
getting absolutely massive, and I hope that people's mindsets change for good. You know, I hope that at the back of this terrible situation, we can all pull together and help each other in the future, and not care so much about the crap we buy and have we got this, have we got that. It's like, how about, have we got people, can we hug them? You know, I think that's going to be
well said, man, because that's what, I'm not going backwards at all, but that's what all our scenes was all about: unity. Nobody taking all the pie.
Exactly.
Share the pie. Everybody take a sip from the cup. You know, everybody look after each other. You know, I just, I'm pleased. Can I do a shout to just a few people?
You can, of course. Please do.
There's no way. This is obviously a very, very long list, but this is not long. This is my family and friends. Everybody on this list. I couldn't have done any of this without any of them. First of all is my brother Lee Bernard. Without him, I'm telling you now, there's no way any of this would have happened. He's always been a rock, an absolute legend. I've got my boys, Henno and Ruben, my little mags, G Master G, Greg Sutton there, my absolute legend, Donna, Rini, Abby, Scarlett, Husey, Igor, Spats, come on, get better, Dave, Benson, Craig, Gary and Steve, Kim, Joachim, Charlotte, Zoe and family. We've got Boydie and Katie, Wayne, Jane, Jan, Jay, Stranick, Liam, Katie. I'm going to send a shout out to Keith, rest in peace, brother.
Yeah.
God. Dave, Lazenby, Nell, Cole, Bernie, Rave, Dusty and the Millers. Everyone who knows me, the Sheffield Massive, the London Massive, the TCM Posse and the ES Posse, and not forgetting Newts and Tomo. I love you all.
Zach, it's been an absolute pleasure today. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll tell you what, the chat room and the stream's absolutely blown up, and I'm sure we'll do it again sometime. So
feed me back, man. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, wicked. Thank you.
All right then. Peace, man.
Take care, everyone.